No ships moved. No missiles were launched. Because the one who controlled all planetary defense systems was not human. She was something more. Something terrifying. Her name was Zelria, Queen of the Talari Empire, ruler of 5 galaxies, and master of Earth's skies. She didn't use computers. She didn't use soldiers. Her mind alone could control every defense satellite orbiting Earth. She didn't come to Earth in a ship. She came in a thought. Within hours, Earth's strongest weapons were frozen. Bases lost power. Nukes went offline. The message was clear. Your weapons belong to me. Your war is already lost. Humanity panicked. Governments met in secret. Generals shouted in war rooms. Presidents gave angry speeches. But none of it mattered. Zelria could hear them all. Her mind reached into every conversation, every plan. But in the middle of the chaos, one strange idea came from the shadows. A quiet voice in a silent room said, "Don't fight her. Send someone she won't expect." They didn't need a warrior. They needed a spy, a man trained in charm, in manipulation, in reading emotions like a map. Someone who could get close without being seen as a threat. His name was Agent Marcus Reeve. He was not the strongest, not the fastest, but he had one thing others didn't, the ability to win hearts while hiding his true mission. And now he was Earth's last hope. Marcus sat inside the black ship as it floated in orbit. The mission file was open on the screen. Images of Zelria appeared, tall, graceful, with silver eyes that could see into the soul. She looked human, but her mind was far beyond anything Earth had ever known. A voice came through the ship's speaker. "Agent Reeve, remember, you are not to harm her. You are to earn her trust. Disable her mentally. Seduce her if you must. The survival of Earth depends on you." Marcus didn't speak. He just closed the file and looked out the window. The stars seemed colder now. The ship moved silently toward the edge of Talari space. No one had ever come back from there. It wasn't guarded by weapons, but by thought. Any ship seen as a threat would be stopped before it even crossed the line. But this ship was different. It carried no weapons, no shields. It was empty, except for one man. As the ship crossed into enemy space, everything went quiet. No beeps, no engine hum, not even a heartbeat. Marcus felt a sudden pressure in his head. Then, a voice. A soft whisper inside his mind. "You are late, human." Marcus jumped slightly, looking around the ship. There was no one there. "I've been watching you since your birth." The voice continued. "You hide your thoughts well, but not from me. Zelria." She was inside his mind now. Marcus steadied his breath. He tried to think of calm things, a quiet beach, a song from childhood, his mother's smile, anything to block her out. "Cute," she said, almost laughing, "but useless." His ship began to move on its own. Controls locked. The screen went black. She was pulling him in, to her planet, to her palace. Marcus felt fear, yes, but also excitement. This was what he trained for. This was why he existed. As the ship descended into the alien city, the view outside changed. Tall towers made of glowing stone. Sky filled with blue fire. No sound, no people. Just silence and a strange, heavy feeling. He had arrived. The ship landed on a wide platform, floating in midair. The doors opened. Cold wind brushed against his face. Then he saw her. Zelria stood at the end of the platform. Long, dark robe, silver eyes glowing faintly. Her face was calm but not cold. She looked at him the way a scientist looks at a puzzle. "Welcome, Marcus Reeve," she said aloud now. "I know why you are here." He stepped forward slowly, careful with every movement. "Then you know this won't be easy," he replied. She smiled, but it wasn't a warm smile. Nothing important ever is. The wind grew stronger. Behind her, the sky shimmered with thousands of orbiting weapons, all connected to her mind. She turned and walked into the palace. Without looking back, she said, "Come." We have much to talk about. Before your planet dies, and Marcus followed her into the lion's den in the Queen's world. HFY Sci-Fi Story. Marcus followed the alien queen into her palace, but every step felt heavier than the last. Not just because of the gravity, it was stronger here, but because of her presence. Her mind didn't just control the planet's defenses, it seemed to press down on the world itself. The palace was silent. No guards, no machines, no cameras. It was like walking into a dream or a trap. Long corridors twisted like flowing rivers of glass. Strange lights danced on the walls. Marcus saw symbols, alien letters floating in the air, but they vanished when he tried to look too closely. Zelria walked ahead without a sound. Her robes didn't even brush the floor. She moved like someone who had already seen the future and was just walking toward it. Marcus kept his face calm, but inside his heart was racing. What is this place? He thought. Where are the people? Why no guards? Why does it feel like she's everywhere? He didn't have to say it aloud. Her voice entered his mind again, soft and cold. Because I don't need guards, human. Fear walks before me. Betrayal follows behind. Marcus clenched his jaw. He didn't like her in his head, but he couldn't block her. Not yet. They reached a giant chamber. The ceiling was open to the stars. In the center, a smooth, round platform rose like a stage. On it, only 2 chairs, one for her, one for him. Sit, she said. He obeyed. For a moment, there was silence. Pure, deep silence. No sound of wind, no heartbeat, not even his own breathing. Then she spoke. Tell me, Marcus Reeve, what does Earth fear more, my power, or the fact that I use no weapons? Marcus smiled lightly. We fear what we can't understand. She leaned forward slightly. Then you must fear yourselves the most. They looked at each other across the round platform. A human spy and an alien queen who could burn the world with a thought. Marcus knew the plan. Get close, gain her trust, learn her weakness. But how do you charm someone who reads your mind? He changed tactics. Instead of resisting, he opened himself slightly. Not everything. Just enough. A childhood memory. His first reign. His mother's voice reading him stories. Zelria blinked, slowly, as if tasting the feeling. You're clever, she said. You give me soft truths to hide the sharp ones. Marcus said nothing. But why? She continued. Do you all come with lies? Your armies hide behind peace, your peace hides behind fear. And now you send a man not to kill but to seduce. I'm not here to seduce you, he said calmly. No? She tilted her head. Then why did you wear that cologne you haven't used since your academy days? Marcus froze. He hadn't told anyone, not even command. She's deeper in than I thought. Zelria stood up and walked slowly around him, not threatening but observing. You are not like the others. You're afraid, but not of me. You're afraid of failing. Marcus looked up at her. Billions of lives depend on this. I should be afraid. Zelria stopped. For the first time her voice softened. Just slightly. You speak like someone who knows loss. She was reading him again. Deeper now. Past the training. Past the surface. And suddenly Marcus felt something strange. A flicker of sadness inside her. It wasn't his. It was hers. Zelria turned away, walking to the edge of the chamber where the stars looked close enough to touch. This world was once full of life, she said. Before war, before betrayal, before I took control. Marcus didn't respond. They tried to kill me, she whispered. My own counsel. They feared my mind, so I took theirs, and I never gave them back. Marcus felt a chill. You rule alone? I rule in silence, she said. It is safer that way. Suddenly the room began to shift. Walls melted into light. The chairs vanished. Marcus stood, dizzy. A memory, not his, hers. He saw her, Zelria, standing over a burning city, her eyes glowing. Behind her, a man, tall, human-like, smiling at her, then betrayal. The man stabbed her in the back, not with a knife but with words. Lies. He handed her over to enemies. The look in her eyes, heartbreak, rage, shame. The memory faded. Zelria looked at him, her voice now low and dangerous. So tell me, Agent Reeve, what lie will you use to win my trust? He stepped forward, heart pounding. Maybe no lie at all, he said. Maybe. I'll let you see the truth. Zelria stared at him, unreadable. Then show me. She reached out her hand. Show me who you really are. Marcus hesitated, because if she saw everything, the mission, the secret plan, the fail-safe device hidden in his suit, it would be over for him and for Earth. Mind games. HFY Sci-Fi Story. When Marcus touched Zelria's hand, it felt like ice and fire at the same time. Her skin was smooth, but the energy in it was alive, crawling, searching. It wasn't just a touch, it was a test. His mind opened. Before he could stop it, memories flew past them like shooting stars. A childhood spent in the slums of a broken city. His first mission, a failed one. A lover who betrayed him. His spy training. The loneliness. The weight of every lie. Zelria saw it all, or at least what he wanted her to see. Because deep inside, hidden under false emotions, fake memories, and layers of mental fog, Marcus had locked away the truth. The real mission. The real danger. And he had only one chance to keep it buried. Zelria's voice came inside his mind again, colder now. You've built a maze inside your thoughts, clever, but unnecessary. I'm not here to break you, yet. Marcus took a slow breath. They were still standing in the glowing chamber, but everything around them felt thinner, like a dream within a dream. What do you want from me? He asked. Zelria didn't answer. Instead, she began walking again, this time down a hallway made of pure crystal. It shimmered with memories, not his, but hers. As they passed, he saw flashes inside the walls, cities turning to ash, betrayals, kings kneeling before her, whole star system surrendering without a fight. I want to understand, she finally said. Understand what? Why humans never stop fighting. Marcus stopped walking. Because we're afraid of losing control, he said. Even when we never had it to begin with. Zelria turned to look at him. For a moment, her expression softened. You speak like someone who has lost control before. He didn't answer. Suddenly, the hallway opened into a massive room. A library of minds. Floating spheres filled the space, each one glowing with a faint light. Inside each sphere, a face. Moving, speaking silently. What is this? Marcus asked. These, she said, are the minds of leaders who tried to outsmart me. Marcus stared in horror. Generals, scientists, politicians, floating in endless thought, trapped like insects in a jar. They wanted to win. Now they dream of their victories forever, but they'll never wake up. You erase them, he whispered. No, she replied. I preserved them, so others could learn, including you. She stepped closer. So tell me, Agent Reeve, what are you here to learn? Marcus was quiet. The fear inside him, twisted with something else, curiosity. What if she wasn't just a tyrant? What if she was broken? But he had to stay sharp. One wrong word, one bad thought, and he could end up in one of those spheres. I want to learn how to stop this war, he said. Without blood. Zelria smiled. Then you must do something no human has done before. What? Make me feel safe. The word struck him like a pulse. Was this the weakness Command was hoping for? Was this the opening? He stepped closer, slow and steady. You don't feel safe? He asked. Zelria looked at the floor. I was born with power, No one understood. They worshipped me, feared me, then plotted against me. I had to act before they did. I had to take everything. Because no one ever gave me anything. Marcus could feel her mind trembling, like a giant trying not to fall. And now he understood. She wasn't a queen anymore. She was a prisoner of her own strength. He reached out gently. "Let me show you something," he said. Zelria allowed him. For a second he opened a true memory. Not a weapon, not a lie. A night sky, stars over a mountain, the smell of firewood. A moment when he felt peace. Zelria gasped softly. She saw it all. And for the first time, her hand touched his. Not to invade, but to hold. "That feeling," she whispered. "I haven't known it in centuries." Then the chamber shook. Alarms rang through the palace. Red light flashed. Voices echoed through the walls. Military signals, broken code, human interference. Marcus turned sharply. "What is it?" Zelria's eyes lit with fire. "Your people are moving. A stealth fleet just entered my border." "What?" "That's not part of the plan." "You lied," she growled. "No, I swear I didn't know." The walls cracked. Psychic pressure built around them. Zelria screamed, not with voice but with power. The library of minds shook. Several spheres exploded. Trapped minds faded into smoke. "You brought this war here?" "No, Zelria, listen to me." But she wasn't listening anymore. Her hair floated. Her eyes burned. The skies above began to glow with fire. Marcus ran to her, reached out. "Don't do this, you're not like them." Her voice tore through space. "Then show me why I should spare your planet." And Marcus, for the first time, realized he might not win. Not with lies, not with charm, maybe not even with love. The Queen's secret. HFY Sci-Fi Story. Everything was breaking. The ground under the palace cracked like thin ice. The glowing library of minds shattered one by one. Screams echoed, not from throats but from thought. Marcus had never felt such pain. Not his own. Hers. Zelria's scream wasn't anger now. It was grief. Deep, ancient, and endless. She floated in the air above him, eyes like suns, hair moving in waves of light. But her face wasn't cruel. It was heartbroken. "They lied to me again," she whispered into the air. "Even the one I let close. Again." Marcus stood frozen. Below, he had no weapon, no command orders. His voice was his only tool. "Zelria, listen to me." "No." Her voice struck him like thunder. He fell to his knees. "I gave your kind a chance, and now your fleet waits just outside my walls, preparing for war." "I didn't know," Marcus said, struggling to breathe. "I swear to you, Zelria, they didn't tell me. They don't trust me either." Zelria's glowing eyes stared down at him. And for a moment she searched deeper, past his fear, past the layers of spy training, past the memories he used as shields. What she found made her pause. Truth, he really didn't know. Her light dimmed slightly. Her feet touched the ground again. The shaking slowed, but her power still crackled in the air like a storm barely held back. "You're either the best liar I've ever met," she said quietly, "or the first human who ever spoke to me without a mask." Marcus stood slowly. "I'm not here to save Earth by destroying you," he said. "I'm here to understand you, and maybe to stop this madness before we lose everything." Zelria walked to the edge of the chamber. Her palace was cracking open. The stars above were darker now, as if watching. The floating towers of her city trembled in the wind of her rage. "You want to know why I don't trust humans?" she asked without turning. "Then follow me, and see what your kind made of me." Marcus followed her in silence. They passed through a hidden tunnel deep below the palace, cold and full of strange energy. The walls were covered in alien writing, some glowing, some faded. "Before this power," she said, "before the wars, I was just a girl with a gift. I could feel minds, emotions. I thought it was a blessing." They entered a dark chamber. In the center stood a giant crystal structure. Inside it, A man, a human. He was perfectly still, suspended in time. His name was Leon, she said. He was the first to understand me, the first to love me. Marcus stepped closer. The man looked peaceful, eyes closed, face soft. He was a spy too, she said. Sent by your ancestors, but he told me the truth. He warned me of the attack. He chose me over his people. So what happened? Marcus asked. Zelria's voice cracked for the first time. They found out. They made him choose. He chose peace again, and they killed him for it. She turned to look at Marcus. But I wouldn't let him die. I took what was left of his mind, his energy, and I locked it in here. He sleeps forever. Not alive. Not dead. But safe. Marcus felt cold inside. You kept him like this? Yes, she said softly. Because he was the only piece of peace I had left, and I needed to remember what love looked like before I became this. The lights dimmed around them. Zelria stepped closer to Marcus. So now tell me, spy, she said. If Earth must live and I must fall, will you destroy me? Or will you lie to your people like Leon did, just to keep peace alive? Marcus didn't answer. He didn't know what to say. Because now, he wasn't sure what was right anymore. Was Zelria truly the monster they feared? Or was she the result of endless betrayal, shaped by fear, not born of it? There's a way out, he said finally. But it won't come from orders or threats. It'll come from trust. Zelria looked tired now, more human than ever. Then give me something to trust, Marcus Reeve. Something real. He reached into his suit slowly and pulled out a small device, and the only one hidden from even her mind reading. He handed it to her. This is the key to my ship, he said. Without it, I can't leave this planet. I'm yours completely. Zelria stared at it, then took it. No words. Just a quiet step forward, and for the first time since he arrived, she let him stand beside her, not as a spy, not as a prisoner, but as something strange and new, maybe, as an equal. Outside, warships still floated in silence, and above them, the stars held their breath. The Seduction, HFY Sci-Fi Story. The crystal chamber was silent after Zelria took the key from Marcus's hand. It was a small object, smooth, silver, no larger than a coin, but it meant everything. Trust, or the start of it. Zelria stared at it for a long time before hiding it in her sleeve. She didn't thank him. She didn't smile. But for the first time her shoulders dropped slightly. The weight of centuries lifted just a little. You gave me your escape, she said softly. I gave you a choice, Marcus replied. You decide if I go free, or stay and finish this the right way. Zelria turned her back and walked deeper into the chamber. Then stay, she said. For now, and so he did. The following days moved strangely. Time inside her palace didn't feel real. The sun never rose, but the stars always moved. Marcus spent hours, maybe days, walking the halls with her, talking, listening, watching her as she watched him. They ate in silence. They sat in long, quiet rooms filled with glowing lights, watching ancient alien art, shapes that moved with music he couldn't hear. Sometimes she would ask him questions. Not about war or plans, but about small things. What does rain feel like? Do you remember your first taste of sweetness? What sound do human hearts make when they're afraid? And in love at the same time? He answered every question honestly, not because of the mission, but because he wanted to. Something inside her was changing. Something inside him was too. On the fourth night, or what felt like a night, she took him to a garden hidden deep within the palace. There was no sunlight. Instead, glowing trees floated above black water, their roots never touching ground. Every step they took sent ripples through the air. This is the last place that's truly mine, she said. It's beautiful, Marcus replied. It was, meant for two, she said, almost to herself. A sanctuary for two minds joined. He said nothing. Zelria turned to face him, her expression unreadable. "You still haven't kissed me," she said. "Even after all this." Marcus blinked. "Would it matter?" "It would tell me what's real," she replied. "And if I kissed you because of the mission?" "I'd know," she said, stepping closer. "But if you didn't, I'd know that too." They were inches apart now. Marcus looked into her eyes, silver, glowing, but softer than ever before. And then, he kissed her. It wasn't rushed. It wasn't careful. It was real. And for a moment, one small stolen moment, the war, the mission, the pressure of two civilizations, all faded into the dark garden air. She didn't pull away. When she finally did, her voice was quieter than he'd ever heard. "You weren't lying." "Not about that," he said. They sat by the water, their hands touching but not holding. Zelria looked at the sky through the glowing trees. "I can't stop what's coming," she said. "Your people will attack again. They always do. They fear me, Marcus, and I don't blame them." "Then, give them a reason not to," he said. "Show them the Queen is not a god, just a woman who has seen too much pain." She laughed softly. "If only it were that simple." "Maybe it is," he said. "But you've been looking through a telescope. For so long you've forgotten what it feels like to look someone in the eyes." Zelria didn't speak. Then quietly she leaned her head against his shoulder. "Stay with me tonight," she whispered. "I already am," he said, "but not far from the garden." A message traveled through the air. An old emergency frequency, human-made, a spy drone. It had broken into her sky undetected. It had seen the kiss, recorded the garden, and sent everything back to Earth's command. In a war room deep beneath the planet's surface, generals and advisors watched the footage. "He's gone native," one whispered. "He's compromised," another said. "Activate, failsafe," the commander ordered. A red button lit up. Back in the garden, as Marcus and Zelria sat quietly together under the glowing trees, the small device she had taken from him, the ship key, and began to blink. She noticed it first. "What is that?" He turned. "No," he whispered. "They didn't." But it was too late. A signal from Earth, a silent command. The device in her sleeve wasn't just a ship key, it was a bomb. Betrayal revealed. HFY Sci-Fi Story. The garden glowed softly under the floating trees. It had been the one place untouched by war, fear, or power. A place where silence meant peace, not danger. But that silence shattered. The small device, the silver key Marcus had given Zelria, blinked red, once, twice, then faster. Zelria pulled it from her sleeve. Her eyes narrowed. "This is not just a key." Marcus stepped forward, his voice shaky. "Zelria, wait. Don't panic. I didn't know. You gave me this," she said, voice sharp. "You said you trusted me. You said you were mine." "I meant every word," Marcus shouted. "But they must have planted something. A remote signal, a failsafe." Zelria's hands trembled. "This is a weapon. It's pulsing with detonation code." "Then throw it away." "I can't," she whispered. "It's connected. If I break it, it could trigger early." The device glowed brighter. Red light flooded the garden. Marcus looked up at the stars and felt it. Something moving. Above. Fast. Deadly. "Earth's ships," he said, his voice cold now. "They're here." Above the palace, in orbit, the human stealth fleet waited, invisible to most scanners, but not to Zelria. She had felt them the moment they crossed her border. They hadn't come to talk. They had come to finish what Marcus couldn't. Inside the palace, alarms echoed. Not from machines, from thought. Her thoughts, her fear, her fury, spreading like thunder across the walls. Marcus followed her through the halls as the garden faded behind them. "I didn't betray you," he kept saying. "I gave you everything I could. And now you'll give me the rest," she said sharply, entering her throne chamber. Zelria raised her arms. A wave of psychic energy pulsed out, shutting every door, locking down the palace. The stars above trembled. They thought I wouldn't see, she said. They thought a kiss could distract me. How human. You don't believe that, Marcus said. You know I wouldn't do that to you. Zelria looked into his eyes. I don't know anything anymore. The silver device floated between them now, spinning slowly, glowing like a heartbeat ready to burst. Marcus reached for it. Let me take it. Let me end this. Zelria hesitated. Then, she let it drop into his hand. It pulsed once more. Then stopped. Silent. Dead. What? She asked. Marcus looked down at it, confused. They deactivated it? No, she said, eyes narrowing. They're planning something else. Deep in Earth Command, a second signal was launched, a quantum virus designed to shut down psychic neural fields. It had one purpose: disable Zelria's mind, or kill her. A glowing satellite above her city turned its lens downward, ready to fire. Zelria felt it before it happened, a burning in her skull, a tremor in her breath. She staggered. What is this? Marcus caught her before she fell. What's wrong? They're inside my mind, she whispered. They're trying to erase me. Her palace began to crack. The towers collapsed, in slow motion. The sky tore open with lightning. You have to fight it, Marcus said. You're stronger than this. No, she gasped. They're using something new, something cold. It's not a weapon. It's a silence, she screamed, a psychic cry, so powerful that satellites cracked in orbit. Earth's fleet turned. Some ships exploded from the shock, others backed away in fear. But the virus kept pushing. Marcus knew what he had to do. He ran to the core of the palace, the heart chamber, a place where thoughts became real. He connected the virus signal to his own body. He let it pass through him, not to destroy, but to block. He became the firewall. Pain exploded through his brain. Memories burned. His identity cracked. But Zelria's mind cleared. The silence faded. She stood tall again, her eyes wild with power. You would die for me? She asked, stunned. Marcus collapsed to one knee. Not for you, he said, barely breathing. For the chance that peace might be real. Zelria walked to him slowly, then knelt beside him. She placed her hand on his chest. Then live, she said, because I'm not ready to lose anyone else. Above, the human fleet went dark. Systems crashed, weapons shut down. A single message appeared on every ship screen. She is not your enemy. Not anymore. Signed, Agent Marcus Reeve, in the palace. Zelria cradled him gently. His heartbeat was weak. His body burned from the mental overload. But he was alive. She closed her eyes and whispered to the stars, then let this be the end of war. One last choice. HFY Sci-Fi Story. The palace was broken. Cracks ran through its glowing walls. Silence filled the air, not from peace, but from exhaustion. The battle between minds, the betrayal from Earth, and the pain of lost trust had taken its toll. Zelria stood at the edge of the throne chamber, her silver eyes dim, watching over Marcus. He lay unconscious on a floating crystal bed. Pale, still, fragile. The virus that had attacked her mind had nearly destroyed his. He had taken it into himself, a human firewall, to save her. No one had ever done that, not even Leon. Above the planet, the human fleet was still, not by command, but by fear. They had seen what she was capable of, not just destruction but mercy. A message had been sent from her palace, not in her voice but in his, Marcus's final words before he collapsed. She is not your enemy, but if you make her one, none of us will survive. Earth Command didn't know what to do. Some wanted to strike now while she was weak. Others whispered that maybe, for once, they should stand down. For the first time in history, humanity hesitated, not from fear of death, but fear of being wrong. Inside the palace, Zelria moved through the healing chambers. She passed walls covered in moving light, ancient stories, memories, pain. She touched one softly. A vision appeared, a younger version of herself, laughing, dancing under strange twin moons, before the war, before the betrayal, before she became the Queen of Silence. She returned to Marcus's side. He was waking up, slowly. He opened his eyes, blinking at the soft lights above. "Am I dead?" Zeldria smiled gently. "No, but you were close." Marcus sat up, holding his head. You stopped them?" "Yes. I let your fleet go. And they didn't fire?" "Not yet," she said. "But they're waiting, watching. The whole universe is." He looked into her eyes. "So what happens now?" Zelria turned away for a moment. "Now," she said slowly, "I give you one last choice." "What do you mean?" She walked to the center of the chamber. A control panel rose from the floor, smooth, glowing with ancient light. "This system connects to my mind," she said. "If activated, it will erase my psychic network, all the weapons, all the control, everything." "You'd be vulnerable," Marcus said. "No more defense, no more power." "Exactly. Why would you do that?" She looked at him, and, for the first time, she looked human. "Because peace cannot be built on fear. Not forever." Marcus stood up slowly, pain in every movement. "So what's the choice?" She stepped aside. "You press it, or you don't." He stared at the panel. "If I press it, they'll know you've given up your power. They might trust you, or they might attack. And if I don't, then nothing changes," she said. "I keep ruling alone. Earth keeps fearing me. And this, between us, was just another false hope." Marcus walked to the panel. He stood over it, staring down. He could feel his hands shaking. He thought of the war, the lies, the mission. He thought of her touch, her pain, her kiss. He thought of humanity, and how often they chose fear over understanding. Zelria waited, saying nothing. And then, he pressed the panel. The light in the palace shifted. Not a weapon, not an explosion. A release. A sigh. Across the sky, satellites blinked off. Defense grids powered down. Her psychic connection to the machines, the entire planetary defense system, was gone. Zelria gasped. For the first time in centuries, her mind was quiet, and the world didn't fall apart. Above, the human fleet detected the change. Systems confirmed. Queen Zelria's control grid is offline. No weapons. No threat. Orders came in. Stand down. Do not engage. Mission suspended. On the surface, Marcus turned to her. "It's done." Zelria nodded slowly. "You've made a choice no human ever has. So have you," he said. A long silence passed between them. Then he asked quietly, "What now?" She looked at him, not as a queen, but as a woman. "You stay," she said, "or you go. The choice is yours now." Marcus didn't answer right away. He walked to the edge of the broken throne room, looking out over the alien world, and after a long breath, he turned back. "I'm not going anywhere." Zelria smiled, not with power, not with pride, but with peace.